So, Pete, you were at Capitol for 15 years. There must have been lots of stories and lots of interesting things that happened. What's a couple of your favorite stories?
You got to remember, this is from, I was there from 83 to basically all of it 98. I mean, I actually left the first week of 99. So a good solid 15 friggin' years. Ouch. But in that period of time, as you can imagine, there was a lot of crazy events, shall we say, going on. But some of the most amazing people that I got to work with, well, probably the most amazing was, okay, so I was doing a record with George Benson, and the producer turns to me and says, well, next week we're going to do a date with Miles. And I'm thinking, Miles Copeland? Miles Standish? You can't mean Miles Davis. Yeah, Miles Davis. Yeah. Okay, then. So it was supposed to be one day, right? We were just supposed to do a test drive because they had started this record at another studio and had less than stellar results. Yeah, they didn't like the sound of the horn and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, they brought him to me. And, I was a huge Miles fan, right? And Marcus Miller, the renowned bass player and producer, was really the musical guy. And Tommy LaPuma was the executive producer. And it was Tommy who, was my client, if you will. And miss him terribly. What a huge loss when he passed away a year or two ago. So we were doing the track that Marcus had brought in, and because they had a relationship, Marcus and Miles, because Marcus had played in Miles's road band for for some period of time. I don't exactly know how long, but they had a relationship. So when Miles learned that Marcus had some other material that he wanted to hear, I made a cassette-to-cassette copy of what was supposed to be just, again, one additional tune that he was going to take home and listen to. And I wasn't paying attention, and I let the whole cassette get copied over. And, there were probably 6 or 8 great other tunes on this thing. So instead of working one day with Miles, I got like 12 days or something with Miles because I fucked up his cassette. Best mistake I ever made.
Nice.
There were some other great stories on that record. Just one more, which was we were going to do percussion on the record, and the whole record really was Miles, Marcus, and machines. I think Jason Miles played. This is the L.A. stuff because they did several tunes in New York later too. But I'm proud to say I think that the better stuff is the stuff we did in L.A. Believe it or not. And so we were going to do percussion on the tracks that we had recorded. And Marcus Miller and Tommy and myself, we all were vouching for Paulinho da Costa, who's a ridiculously great percussionist. In fact, here's a quick aside for him. Billie Jean, the Michael Jackson hit? Of
course.
Da-do, 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 the Fuche, the Cabasa thing. That is featured on that's sort of the groove, the glue of the groove. That was recorded at half speed by Bruce Swedien to get the harmonic structure of that thing to come up and sound kind of otherworldly, right? But can you imagine? To play to play a groove at half speed. So that when you sped it up, it made you, what I mean? That's an accomplishment to make it sound really musical, that dirge-like tempo. So we wanted to get him, and Miles said, no, we're going to get the guy who plays in my band to do this. And a great guy who I've worked with a bunch of times too, but we were all, not convinced that this was the right call, right? So the live guy shows up and brings in like 35 road cases full of percussion. And we're all like, okay then. And once Miles sees this carnival about to unfold, he gets in the joke now too, right? So I'm about to start recording. This is on analog tape. I'm about to start recording whatever on the first tune, and Miles' only direction is he gets on the talkback and he says, "Hey man, whenever you hear something to play, don't play," and he lets go of the talkback. Okay, so what the hell are you going to do with that direction, right? So I go in to record, and music's are playing, he's grooving it, picks up the cowbell, remembers what Miles says, puts down the cowbell. 32 bars later, here's something, picks up the tambourine, remembers what Miles says, puts down the tambourine. Now we're all dying in the control room on our knees, like dying, laughing. This was one of the... But Miles was just, he's not going to admit that he made the wrong call. It's like, no, he's totally in charge of the situation. I got this one. I got this covered. We're going to have a laugh at this. This is great. And another one I thought of on the ride over here that I'm not sure I mentioned before, which was I was working on a record with the Replacements.
Yeah.
Paul Westerberg and those guys. I mean, they're
Sure.
total other direction musically from working on a record with Miles. But Matt Wallace, I always get the Wallace brothers confused. Matt or Andy. I think it's Matt Wallace was the producer and engineer of this. Really super guy on both scores. A great person and a great engineer. And Slim Dunlop, I think I got the name right, was the guitar player in the band, right? And these guys were pretty out there. And more concerned about making last call back at the Hotel Marmont, where they were staying, than actually finishing the day's work kind of thing. And what I remember this one day was that Slim was not digging the guitar tone that Matt was getting on his instrument. And he said, "Man, I'm going to go back to the hotel and get my gun. I'll be right back."
Get his gun?
His handgun. I hope it was a handgun and not a long gun or something. So I said to Matt, "Bro, I think you're done for the day. I got this. I'll take over from here." It's like you don't get volatile people like that anymore. At least I don't. Of course, nowadays I've evolved into a mastering engineer, and hardly you ever have attended sessions, so I don't see people anymore.